towards politics in general. People see it as that game that I can't play because it's dirty, because these people, they call it the dirty game. But I think with the coming of social media, a lot of people have a new platform to voice out their opinions, and they see that it matters, because it forced governments and political parties to do certain things. So yes, the young people hitherto used to be very apathetic towards politics, but I think that is beginning to change slowly. It's not gonna change overnight, but that's exactly what we are working on to make sure that we get people into the fold to be able to do something different.
All right, then Ismail Ahmed is the chairman of All Progressive Youth Forum. Thank you very much indeed for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much.
All right, then we'll return after this break. Join us again.
It is our desire to call on the leadership of the Nigerian Senate and all distinguished senators of the Federal Republic to consider the decision of the Federal House of Representatives in upholding the autonomy of the local government in Nigeria. Hence, there's need for the Senate to rescind its decision in opposing the autonomy of local government as a necessary and relevant tier of government. We further call on both the chambers of the National Assembly to reconsider their resolution on the immunity clause to Chief Executive of the federal and state level, that is the President and the governors, as stated in the 1999 Constitution, as amended. It is understandable that immunity clause is not peculiar to Nigeria, and as such provide for the protection of democracy, particularly in a nascent one like Nigeria. Removing the immunity clause from the Constitution will not only pose a distraction to governance, but also contribute extensively to distort and bring a setback to development in Nigeria.
At this special time, there is no greater virtue than sharing the nourishment of Peak in special Ramadan packs. Ramadan Kareem from Peak.
Oh yeah, well, welcome back. Yes, and you see the camera movements there, didn't you? Well, Mr. Adeola Shweton joins us this morning. He's the coordinator of Grassroots Watch. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Yeah, thank you, good morning.
You know, I was just looking at that camera and I saw the screen seeing General Akibu go on. At the time, he was head of state, and how old was he? And you look these days and look at the age of people who are in leadership positions, yet they keep saying youths are leaders of tomorrow. But the people of that age were to want to lead this country. What kind of response do you think they will get?
Well, the reality is that those who say that youths are leaders of tomorrow, in Nigeria especially, they are not being sincere. Because in those days, the youth had access to basic education, employment. So by the time you are 20, 25, you are being equipped materially, intellectually, and mentally for leadership. But today, you have 30 plus looking for jobs that are not there. So you cannot even be thinking of future. You cannot even be thinking of leadership because the system has pauperized him, both mentally and materially. So it's only when you have good economic development that you can be talking of youth are leaders of tomorrow. You just say a slogan that they inherited and they just fling it without being sincere about it.
You know, these days in school, I mean, when a lecturer gives you, I mean, they have a way of doing it. Almost all the professors come in, they give you assignments that you submit at the same time when the deadline comes in. And you ask yourself, but when they went to school, most of them went to school abroad. You have one course, you take it for time, 2, 3. It wasn't as intense as it is. But these guys who led this country at the time, they presided over the affairs of this country, and they still do. And when you say youth are leaders of tomorrow, you say they are not sincere. Could there have been a deliberate design on their part?
Well, it is partly. I'll give you an instance. When I was at Ogun State Polytechnic as a HSC student, it was a student to a microscope. A student to a microscope, yeah, because I did my HSC there. So when I went to Ife, it became about 5 to 6 students to a microscope. The last time I was in Ife for a program, I went to the laboratory. You had about 50 to 60 students to a microscope. Some will even climb the table. You know, a microscope, you have to put your eye. Some will climb the table, looking at the microscope. Oh, you have seen Amoeba. You want us to say Amoeba. So it's as bad as that. So it's when all these things are put in place that you can be thinking of leaders of tomorrow. I hope tomorrow will come, whether they like it or not. But the reality is that they are preparing their children. That is the danger. What we're having now is an elitist, is what we call a caste system, wherein they have collapsed the public school. Their children are in private schools, both local, here, and internationally. So they are creating a caste, wherein when they say youth are leaders of tomorrow, they're talking of our children that opportune are the leaders of tomorrow. And it's obvious. You see their sons and daughters now as ministers, as commissioners, as chairman of local governments.
Speaking about that, local governments, I mean, your coordinator, Grassroots Watch.
Yeah.
What do the grassroots want with respect to local governments? Because you hear the National Assembly, you hear the NUT say, look, we don't want this autonomy because it won't turn out well for a certain group of people. But the House of Reps, in turn, gives that autonomy, saying that's the way to go.
Well, I think a lot of people are getting it wrong, the issue of this autonomy.
How?
They are looking at it from the elitist perspective. Autonomy is just devolution of power to the people at the grassroots. Autonomy is not to create a supra chairman of local government like we have the governors now, where all the money will be in their pocket. No, we are talking of participation. Let the grassroots people, we know the local government are the closest to the people. I am involved with a lot of individuals that work as local government, maybe chairmen or councillors or development agents. I deal with farmers.
Yeah, but isn't the key thing about funds meant for local governments getting to them?
No, that is just one of it. The basic thing is that are people participating in how they are governed? That is autonomy. That is, the governor has no business
So
appointing a councillor.
Yeah, can you legislate participation?
Good. You can legislate it to a certain extent, but you can also encourage it through mobilization. The autonomy they're talking about is that, well, personally too, I feel that the local government should be stronger. The local government should be autonomous to the extent that they control their money, their fund, their laws, and how they want their program prioritized. Not that a governor will be at the capital and be determining that